Okay, so today we will finalize the unit 1 and we will see the overall gain of op-amp. So in previous lectures we have seen the total circuitry of op-amp, which consists of bias circuitry. So all the red highlighted portions, these are bias circuitry. So we have seen that this is a current mirror which is biasing the input stage. This current mirror which is biasing the gain stage and output stage. Then another bias circuit formed by transistor Q18 and Q19, which is responsible for creating twice of VB drop between the bases of output transistor Q14 and Q20. This Q14 and Q20 transistor is class AB transistors which are working in emitter follower configuration. So we have target to provide low output impedance. So that's why class AB transistors will be operated in emitter follower mode. Then this is another current mirror of bias circuit which is biasing the input stage. So in case of analysis, we have to perform two analysis. One is DC analysis and one is AC analysis. So with the help of DC analysis, we have calculated collector current of various transistors. So why we have calculated collector current, that is the bias current of all the transistors? Because with the help of these bias current, we will be able to calculate different parameters of transistors. For example, what is the value of resistance small re? Small re resistances present in the emitter of all the transistors. In same way, we can calculate resistance R0. R0 connected from collector to emitter. So for calculating all these parameters, we must have idea of the bias current, that is the collector current of all the transistors. So this is the summary where all the collector currents of different transistor Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 all are mentioned. So with the help of these collector currents, DC collector currents, we have calculated different parameters of various transistors of 741 IC. Then we have performed the small signal analysis. So for performing a small signal analysis, we have three major sections. One is the input stage, this one. Then we have gain stage consisting transistor Q16 and Q17. And then we have output stage consisting class AB output stage consisting transistor Q14 and Q20. So we have performed the AC analysis of these three stages separately. So here this is the AC analysis. So in case of AC analysis, we will replace all the DC supply or sources by their equivalent. For example, DC voltage by short circuited and DC current by open circuit condition. So here we will have ground position because of current mirror, and here we have constant current biasing, so this is open circuit condition. And then one important parameter of op-amp which is known as input impedance, we have calculated with the help of input stage, that is RID. So this input impedance we have calculated by the AC analysis of first stage, means input stage. So this is nothing but the effective impedance if we are looking between the two input terminals. So we have designated this is input 1 and this is input 2 of op-amp, This is positive pole, this is negative pole, and we have applied some differential signal, let's say Vi. So what is the net effective impedance if we are looking in these two poles? And that has been designated as RID. So we have seen that the total resistance present in this particular, from this point to this point, is nothing but emitter resistance of transistor Q1, transistor Q3, emitter resistance of Q4 and Q2. So all these four resistances are in series. But since we are looking at the base of transistor Q1 and Q2, and these resistances are present in the emitter branch of these transistors Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So if we are looking from the base, so emitter resistance will be augmented by factor beta. Exact value will be 1 plus beta multiplied by the emitter resistance. Since we are looking from the base of NPN transistor Q1 and NPN transistor Q2, and let us assume Q1 and Q2 are matched. So beta will be beta of Q1 and Q2. So we have assumed matched transistor, means both transistors will have same beta. So here we have obtained RID, which is nothing but applied voltage divided by supply current. Let's say the current is base current. So this is equal to 1 plus beta n beta of this NPN transistor Q1 or Q2 multiplied by 4 RE. We have total 4 small RE resistances, so 4 RE. So solving this, we have obtained RID is equal to 2.1 mega ohm. So if we see the ideal property of op-amp, so whenever anybody asks what is the ideal input impedance of op-amp, we say infinite. So this 2.1 mega ohm is quite high. So we will say practically this is the resistance value, but this is very high. So ideally we will say it is infinite. So one parameter we have already seen. Then we have calculated the short circuit transconductance of input stage, that is GM1, which is nothing but it is equal to half of GM. And then we have calculated the output impedance of first stage, means input stage. So this is coming as we have applied this formula R0. So if we see we have calculated output impedance if we are looking in this way. So we will have two branches. One is this branch, one is this branch. So output impedance will be the parallel combination of these two branch resistances or impedances. So here we have considered transistor Q4, and since we are applying the inputs in complementary way, so we can place this at ground position, and the effective resistance present in the emitter of transistor Q4 is a small RE resistance of transistor Q2. So this is one case. In same way, voltage at this point is very small, so we can consider this at virtual ground again. So not virtual ground, we will say ground. So here emitter resistance for transistor Q6 we will consider as 1K. So if we see this diagram, so here the upper branch impedance is calculated by considering transistor Q4 and emitter resistance as RE, while the lower branch resistance is calculated by considering transistor Q6 and external resistance R2. And then we have applied the formula this much. So by this we will be able to calculate all the three parameters which are required for the AC analysis, that is input impedance, output impedance and short circuit transconductance. In same way, we have calculated the same three parameters for gain stage, that is second stage. So gain stage, it comprises transistor Q16 and Q17 and it is responsible for realizing the bulk of gain of 741 IC. So again here we have calculated the input impedance of gain stage, which is denoted as Ri2. So we are looking into the base of transistor Q16. So we have calculated what is the net resistance connected at this point, then first calculated Ri17. Then this Ri17 is it parallel with R19. Then the total resistance will again be augmented by factor 1 plus beta of this transistor. So here we can see 1 plus beta 16 and this is net resistance present in the emitter of transistor Q16, which include internal resistance small re and the parallel combination of R9 and the net resistance in this branch means Ri17. So if we see Ri17 is nothing but the again impedance looking into the base of transistor Q17. So it will be again 1 plus beta times net resistance present in the emitter branch of transistor Q17. Here we have calculated the short circuit transconductance and this is and then output resistance also. So if we see output resistance, if we are looking from this point, is again the parallel combination of resistance present in this branch and resistance present in this branch. So this is the equivalent circuit of gain stage. This is the input impedance Ri2, dependent voltage source of value GM2.Vi2 and then the output resistance of gain stage or second stage. So we will be using these models for overall gain calculation. So we have the previous model for input stage, the input impedance of first stage, output impedance of first stage and short circuit transconductance overall the current source GM1Vi. So this is one model of input stage, second model of gain stage. In similar way, we have calculated, okay, one more thing. Here, this is the equivalent model of gain stage and we have converted this equivalent model by using Thevenin principle. So this current source has been converted into a voltage source. So we will look from this board what is the net resistance. So net resistance, also known as Thevenin resistance, this is simply R02 and the net voltage looking at this port, that will be minus of GM2Vi2 multiplied by R02. So this is the voltage source. So we will be using this Thevenin equivalent of this model in overall gain calculation. Then we have seen what is the highest positive and negative swing. So, okay, coming to the last stage. So for last stage, gain calculation, input impedance and output impedance, we have considered the loading of gain stage over the output stage, and we have obtained net model, this one. So this R in 3 is the input impedance of output stage. R naught is the output impedance of output stage of or we will say this is the final output impedance of 741 IC. So here if we see Ri3 means the input impedance of output stage, this is approximately equal to 3.7 mega ohms, which is very high. So we will say and why we will have such a large value? Because of use of emitter followers. So both these transistors Q23 and Q20, they are working in emitter follower mode. So that's why we will have very high input resistance and it will avoid the loading. So here we have calculated Ri3, and then since these two are in emitter follower mode, so after calculation, or since we have Ri3 very high, so we will say the approximate voltage gain for this stage is 1. So both are cascaded, so net gain will be approximately 1. And this is the output impedance R out, which is nothing but the output impedance of 741 IC. So as we know, what is the ideal output impedance of op-amp? So we say 0. So here if you see, this is coming as 34 ohms. So it again verifies that the output impedance of op-amp is very low and ideally it will be 0. So we have calculated this output impedance as 34 ohms. So now we will be using previous two models of first stage, gain stage and this stage for the overall calculation of gain of 741 IC. So now we will represent a complete model which will comprise all the three stages. So this is for input stage, this model is of gain stage, and this model is for output stage. So we can combine these three. So if we see in overall model, this part is input stage, then this part starting from this point to this point is the gain stage, and this overall part is the output stage. Here we have connected a load resistance of RL. So now we can calculate the overall gain. So overall gain is nothing but output voltage by input voltage Vi. So output voltage by input voltage, it can be represented as V0 by V02, V0 by V02 multiplied by V02 by Vi2, V02 by Vi2 multiplied by Vi2 by Vi. So we will calculate these three factors 1, 2, 3. We will simply multiply and we will be able to calculate the overall gain of 741 IC. So here if we see Vi2 by Vi, so Vi2 is equal to, this is net resistance. So we will say the voltage Vi2 is nothing but the minus, this is the current source. So parallel combination of these two R01, Ri2 multiplied by GM1 V1. In same way, we can calculate V02 by Vi2. So this will come as this much. And V0 upon V02. So here we can apply, this is the voltage source, we can apply voltage divider. So this will become RL upon net resistance multiplied by GV0 3 V02. So this is the overall gain. Now putting the values of these parameters, we will get net voltage gain of 741 as 243147. So approximately this is 2 cross 10 to power 5. And if we will convert this into dB, so this is coming as 107 dBs. Now we will talk about frequency response. So here we have used one capacitor between the base of transistor Q16 and collector of transistor Q17. This capacitor is used for frequency compensation. Frequency compensation, so we can use a higher, we can operate 741 at higher frequency. So we know this capacitor is connected in the input and output terminal of gain stage, and gain stage is realizing bulk of gain, the highest gain. So if we will replace this floating capacitor by a grounded capacitor, we can apply the Miller theorem. So this is the net capacitance which will effectively appear across the base of transistor Q16 and ground. And we can see because of high gain, effectively this capacitor is very high. Since this capacitor is very high, so we can ignore all other parasitic capacitances which will be present at the base of transistor Q16. So if we see what is the net time constant. So net time constant, this is the connection. So we will say this was the capacitor Cc, now it is across the base of 16 to ground. So net resistance associated with this capacitor is R01 parallel Ri2. So this is the net resistance. So time constant will be this multiplied by this. So we can calculate what will be the pole frequency because of this capacitor. So this is coming as 4.1 Hertz. So actually by this frequency compensation, we will deliberately introduce a dominant pole at lower frequency of 4.1 Hertz. Another advantage of Miller compensation technique is pole splitting. So here we have not only introduced a dominant pole at lower frequency, but at the same time all other poles will be shifted at higher frequency. So what is the advantage? We will have a constant roll-off rate of -20 dB per decade, and all other poles are shifted at higher frequency. So this is the point at which this response will touch the unity. This is the dB axis, so this is unity gain point. We will say this is unity gain frequency, and this is nothing but also called gain bandwidth product. So gain, which is approximately 10 to power 5, and bandwidth, which is nothing but the dominant pole frequency, this will come as 1 megahertz. So this frequency is close to 1 megahertz. This is also called gain bandwidth product. So in next class we will see about fundamentals of filter configuration. So thank you.